Hey everybody, welcome back to the Resident Evil 1 remake commentary, and our adventure continues with Chris. Actually, let's take some time to actually discuss the differences between Chris and Jill in both the original and remake scenario. So, one of the biggest ones is that Chris has a more limited inventory compared to Jill. Jill has 8 slots, Chris only has 6, and Chris has the lighter on his pocket the entire time because he actually understands what pockets are. Well, not really.
Well, he is wearing cargo. He is wearing cargo pants in this one.
Yeah,
but if
okay,
he's
well, in
wearing
that case, you have,
cargo
like,
pants,
12
if he's wearing cargo pants, he should have infinite inventory space.
infinite pockets. Yeah.
You lied to me. You told me Chris was over his fanny pack phase.
Stylish and functional. Okay, man, Jesus.
Even the Rock likes them.
Missed opportunity. That should have been a costume for Chris.
There is actually, in Resident Evil 2's case, a fanny pack that you can pick up in the weapons locker area that increases whichever character's inventory you pick up. But in 2's case, they also both have 8 slots to begin with, I think, right?
Oh, wow.
So it's better in that game.
So what other stuff does Chris have versus Jill?
All right. So Chris also, because he has the lighter instead of the lockpick, that means he just can't open up doors all willy-nilly. He needs to rely on small keys, or old keys is what Remake calls them. And
Zelda.
Yeah, in a way, it's pretty much as close as you're going to get to Resident Evil Zelda.
Yeah,
Not
that's
looking for the
actually
Triforce, though.
an interesting difference between the remake and the original. In the original, the lockpick was mostly used on sword key doors and on cabinets that had items inside them, which was a thing that Resident Evil 2 carried over. Remake ditches the cabinets and has the small keys go to doors, usually to optional rooms, but sometimes to mandatory, I think.
Mandatory a couple of times because you need to unlock the old door that requires that at least the chemical. If you're going to get one of the stone masks, because another thing about Remake that changes over the original is that you're not looking for emblems anymore. You're looking for death masks. 4 in total to progress with the plot.
The emblems are in the game, though.
They are in the game,
bastards.
yes. Oh, this game loves fucking with veterans, like, throughout the entire scenario. If you think you know this game from the get-go, when you start, you don't.
Here's the thing. Okay, the Resident Evil novel that I keep bringing up was written based on the original game, based on the puzzles of the original game specifically. So when I played Resident Evil 1, I only played the remake at first. I didn't know the puzzle layout, so I was so confused when I read that novel. What are these emblems? Where are the masks?
So, when you said the emblems are in this game, are they just in the code and they didn't use them, or are they for something else?
Yeah.
They're there for something else.
Okay.
They're for another optional thing. The other thing that confused me is that the novel actually mentioned George Trevor, but there was no sign of the Lisa Trevor subplot either. So I was wondering where the hell that was, and I didn't realize it was a remake exclusive edition until I went back and played Director's Cut.
But when comparing this to the original, I mean, there are a lot of similarities, to be sure, but Remake, for all intents and purposes, is almost in a completely different game.
Yeah. Which they seem to be doing again with Remake 2.
Whatever, I'm all for it.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like the mansion ass looking police station from the original did the fusion dance with the jumble of realistic police station hallways that the beta had, and sort of melded the two styles.
You see, I do kind of like that they're different because, I don't know how I feel about a remake that effectively just straight up replaces the original. I mean, granted, it's one less game that you need to play, granted. But I don't know, it's kind of weird when you've got a game like, say, the original Metroid, which you straight up just do not have to play. Because... Oh, wait, did I say Super Metroid? Sorry, I mean the original Metroid.
You said original Metroid.
You said the original Metroid.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, okay. That's the first time I ever said the right thing and thought that I said...
You preemptively thought you were going to fuck up and apologized for it, even though you didn't.
Dude, I've been on this commentary channel for, what, 7 years? I've earned my ability to expect that I've screwed up saying something by this point. But yeah, basically, I like that. I mean, granted, most people I know would say you should just play the remake anyway, for Resident Evil 1 specifically. But I like that there's at least a reason to go back to the original, if not just for, if you're going to play it out of curiosity's sake, it isn't just the same thing but clunkier, you know?
I forgot that they put that heal point there, like they knew that you were going to get bit by this stupid
Oh,
dog.
because dogs suck. Like, Cerberus sucks. The worst enemies in the game.
They've
Like,
always
worse than
been.
the hunters.
They've always been a pain in the ass. Always. Resident Evil 2 actually goes easy on you by replacing them with the fucking lickers, because the lickers will at least sit there and not react to you until you make some noise.
No matter the difficulty, though, zombies are just inherently meatier in this version of the game because they take a lot of shots.
Yeah, they do tend to take more bullets. Although I
Chris
think
probably want to take those sunglasses off.
But Wesker looks so cool when he does this.
here's an odd thing though. There are like a few zombies that I swear to God are programmed so that they always have head explosions when you shoot them with a handgun.
It's to my knowledge, it's just random. So
No, there's this one zombie in particular right above the first save room with the kerosene note in it.
Yeah.
It's up the stairs. One of those two zombies, and it's always the same one. Whenever I shoot it with the handgun, at least as Jill anyway, I don't play as Chris often. Whenever I shoot it with the handgun, it has a head explosion.
Oh, Crimson.
Hi, bye. Yeah.
We're never running into him again.
Just in case you actually were really smart with your kerosene, by the way, the game has a few zombie corpses scattered around that are already dead, and some of them will become crimson heads after you pass a certain point. You can preemptively burn those too. So that's something to consider.
But once it's already a crimson head, if you attempt to burn the body, it will automatically get up.
Yeah. Well, you can always tell them because they're already red. So
And they got long fingernails.
yeah, this puzzle was exclusive to the remake, where you have to get the imitation of a key from that dog, and use it to get this key to stop the Resident Evil 4 armor trap from killing you.
Now, does this game have the same limited save system that the original Resident Evil had?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Lower difficulties give you more ink ribbon.
Okay.
It's honestly not as bad as you would think, mostly because the game isn't that long and there aren't that many save points. I actually support it because in my first playthrough of Resident Evil 7, and I really wish they let you use the cassette tape save system in that game without switching to the uber hard Madhouse difficulty, where every boss is a super boss and you start the game with two bosses. So yeah, the pacing's a bit awkward there. The save system being unlimited in Resident Evil 7, well, when I first got to the first area with molded in it, what I wound up doing was killing one molded, saving the game, and then going back down to kill the next one, and then just reloading my save file if I missed too many shots. And well, it took a lot of the tension out of the experience. I'll admit, like there wasn't a legitimate checkpoint system or anything. I actually had to. Well, there is a checkpoint system in Resi 7 actually, but I actually had to. I actually didn't have to go through the area in one try. I had to. I could nibble at it until it gave up. It was kind of laughably easy because of the save system.
If it's on PC, I'm sure that's a relatively easy mod they could make, is like implement limited saves on an easier difficulty.
Yeah, but that would require me having a PC that doesn't suck at next gen games.
Yeah, that's also true.
I mean, it's not like my PC is terrible. I can run Witcher 3 on medium settings and have that work kind of fine. So it's not hopeless, but I wouldn't try playing a first person shooter on it. I would expect a lot of frame dips. Yeah. We just went down to the kitchen, and I didn't hear any trombone farting.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm already missing the soundtrack. No, but remake uses the original soundtrack from the original release. So
To its obvious benefit.
I mean, there are some tunes I like in the DualShock version, but it also has kitchen trombones, and I don't like that track at all. So,
There's Chris would be walking around the mansion playing the trombone.
no, dude, that's the theme that follows you when you're drunk in a mansion.
No. He looks like he should be carrying a tuba right now. He looks like a straight-up street performer.
Wesker, is this really the time for that?
When isn't it the time, Chris?
There are fat zombies in this game. Yeah, so this is what I realized, that one of the doors that require the armor key, I never examined it, that's why it's called the mansion key for the record, is the completely optional room with force. You don't have to go in here at all.
It looks
but I think
nice,
it's a
though.
Commentary. Yeah, this place looks gorgeous, and unlike the original game, I don't know how the original handles it, but does Forrest come back to life in the original game to give you a scare?
I don't think he does. I think even the novel only mentioned him being dead and pecked to death by crows. Oh,
Yeah.
crows! Crows attacked you.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
In the original, this is where you find the grenade launcher is Jill, and you can examine Forrest's body, but nothing ever comes from it.
Isn't the grenade launcher still here in Remake's version of Jill's campaign?
I don't know, because I didn't play Jill for this.
This is a very nice looking area, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things that the Resident Evil Remake /Zero style of graphics excels at is really atmospheric outdoor areas.
Yeah, but Forrest inherently is different than the other zombies because he's much faster. Yeah, he was pretty much sprinting towards my way. And again, in one dangerous zombie, he has a shitload of C4 strapped to his chest, and you cannot afford to damage him at all. Otherwise, you instantly game over.
Now, I know that they did end up having Resident Evil 2 and 3 and maybe Code Veronica on GameCube, but those are just straight ports from the PlayStation versions and not really remakes like this one.
Not straight ports. They did smooth out the graphics, better the load times, enhance the load times, I would say.
One function that I really do miss from Zero, and this is a really rare thing since it's inventory-based, is the ability to use items without picking them up.
Yes.
They add that. That's in 4, I know for sure. Like, you can use an herb.
Yeah, 4 has that function too. The thing about Zero's inventory system, and you asked me about this between parts, is that you have two characters that you're switching between, and they both have 6-slot inventories. There's no item boxes. You drop the items wherever you happen to be, alone in the dark style, and your only means of keeping track of them is the map, which helpfully marks your items on the map.
That also means if you're trying to get inventory from one character to another, means you have to play the shuffle game.
Well, yeah, you can switch items between them through the menu, so that's not exactly difficult.
Chris Redfield, Alpha Team. We're here to rescue you.
What ends up happening is that if you want to play the game in any kind of manageable way, you kind of make one person the fighter and the other person the pack mule. But then you get separated. But then you get separated by a goddamn puzzle, and one of your characters is at a disadvantage. So,
I would have liked if you had the ability to drop items on the floor in Remake.
wait, did we
Just for those one-off puzzles.
did we run into Rebecca before this?
No.
No.
Huh. So the scene where you find her in the item room is in here.
I'll go get it.
Oh, that's later.
Hold on.
Is it?
I'll be back.
Yeah.
I think in the original, or at least in the novel, your first meeting with Rebecca is in the safe room on the other side of the mansion, where she sprays Chris's face with bug spray, because she thinks he's a zombie who can
Bug spray?
bug spray. Yeah.
Okay, 1, why'd you think I was a zombie? 2, bug spray?
I'm tired, okay, Chris?
Well, because
okay, well, that
because he
actually
just
makes a lot
kind of
of
blithely opened a door, and she happened to be
guess.
hiding there. It was an interesting introduction to the character. It's funny that the author likes Rebecca Chambers so much and yet made such a bland novelization for Resident Evil Zero. I guess she was just losing passion for the project by that point in the series.
Well, that goes for both the author, I guess, and just Capcom, because Rebecca just sort of disappears after Zero. And she wouldn't
she-
be brought back until Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries.
She actually is a character in the third CGI movie. Actually,
Which one was that?
I forget the title, but it's a
Matrix Leon or
Is it Leon Saves the Day again?
Matrix Leon, Hero Chris, and Rebecca being the character who gets to be an actual Resident Evil character for a while. It's kind of got that same problem that the first CGI movie had, where like the beginning is like full-on survival horror, like it feels Resident Evil, and then stuff gets crazy. The first half feels Resident Evil classic, and the second half feels Resi 6.
yeah, that is weird how Rebecca really doesn't come back from a gameplay perspective. Really, after Zero, I mean, everyone comes back in a game at some point,
Except
Well,
for
isn't
the
she,
characters in
yeah,
Zero.
Isn't she in Revelations 2?
No.
Is she not? Okay, I must be confusing her
I
with someone
mean,
else then.
to be
You're
fair,
confusing her
there's
with Moira, I think.
to be fair, there's a lot of characters in this franchise. There's, a good
Yeah, and actually, Billy Cohen doesn't come back either. He's Zero only. So,
Yeah, and they
That's a
usually
thing.
want to introduce a couple of new characters every game too, just so it's not always the same few faces.
well,
new faces.
the thing about survival horror, and we see this with Leon, is that the more a specific character is exposed to the horror, the more desensitized they get to it, and the less excuse the writers have for them to be scared. And if the player you're playing as ain't scared, you're not going to be scared. So switching
Which
the
is probably
characters
why
around.
they thought to raise. Which is probably why they thought to raise the stakes with that specific character.
Yeah, switching the characters around allows them to keep some of that impact that the scares have, and that's also why, 4, 5, and 6 being based around all these actiony characters.
I kind of
Really?
imagine that,
Give you a shot now, Richard.
like a Resident Evil version of the Metal Gear Solid 2 Hi, I'm Daisy. It's like, why are there giant spiders and zombies with exploding heads? Kid, you just get used to it.
That was basically a line in Resident Evil 6. When Ustinok comes and catches up to Wesker Kid and Sherry when Leon is there.
Right.
What's his name? Jake. Jake complains that Ustinok is kind of like an ex-girlfriend, doesn't know when to quit, and Leon's like, "Welcome to the club. You get used to it."
We'll come after you.
Rebecca,
Thanks,
you
Chris.
got the gun?
Also, what is that you're wearing?
All right.
I'm doing my Jake Paul impersonation.
Oh, Jesus Christ, he is. I just expect him to pull out a snowboard and join the SSX crew.
Co Veronica SSX. I like that. Anyway, yeah. So that was a bit of a quest we had to do with Richard there, because you find them and Rebecca in the right wing of the mansion there, and you have exactly, I think, 4 minutes to get to the room with the serum and get back to Richard. Otherwise, Richard dies, Rebecca goes missing, and that's
But if something should
pretty
happen
much
to me,
bad ending
I'm counting on
territory.
you.
Can you salvage the game and get the good ending anyway, or no?
I think you need to rescue Richard in order to get on the good path, to at least save Rebecca, because saving Jill just requires you getting the Mo discs.
Oh, that's right. Chris's story has like a more obtuse multiple endings situation going on. Like,
Well, they both do.
I don't
Only-
know.
You
I don't know.
You replace Rebecca with Barry.
But Barry, his live or die situation is straight up text box choice that happens during a certain boss fight. Whereas you actually have to do specific things in specific places for Rebecca to survive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can get more on that in the next part.